Another game that definitely that definitely let's talk about the Steelers and the Bills game. Let's talk about what happened. So the Steelers coming in 11-1, they are coming off a one game loss against the Washington football team, and they were the top of the division or top of the conference, and the Bills are playing incredible this year. Josh Allen has played great. The Bills defense has played good. The run game ain't really played that well, but Singletary's been all right. You have Stephon Diggs. He's been really good. The Bills have played like a team that could win a Super Bowl. They are pretty good at so many different aspects. So here's the problem with the Steelers before I continue. Yes, the Steelers had to play like 3 games in 12 days, which the body is not built to play football, let alone to play 3 games in 12 days. That's just overkill. And this is most due to the fact that, their game had to get postponed and moved. The Ravens game that was supposed to be on Thanksgiving, that had to be moved, and then the game against the football Washington had to be moved, and then of course they played last night, Sunday Night Football. But here's why I don't blame 12 game. I don't blame that on the loss. Like I don't think that's the reason why they lost. I think they lost because of who the Steelers have been. We look at the wins. We look at 11 wins and we say, this is the best team. This is a championship team. But we weren't really looking at the wins. We weren't looking at, okay, they have the easiest schedule in the league. They weren't looking at, they struggle nearly, even though they have 11 wins, they struggle against nearly every opponent. We don't look at the fact that they are a dink and dunk team to the fullest. Like, I think Big Ben is like releases the ball in his hand, I think in 2 seconds, which is like the fastest in the league. This is a dink and dunk offense, not to mention how many times I think they lead the league in drop balls. And that is even with the Jets, who arguably is the worst team in the league or worst team we've ever seen. But you drop this, they lead the league in drops, or top 3 at least in drops. They're dink and dunk. Their defense has been, they've lost key pieces on the defensive side. They lost Bud Dupree. Joe Hayden didn't play last game. I don't think he played the last 2 games. Like they've dealt with, and not to mention their run game is non-existent. James Conner was out with COVID, but even with him in there, he really wasn't running well. Snead hasn't been consistent. They have not had a consistent run game. So while this was an 11-win team, to me, this is one of the most flawed 11-win teams we've had. And then you look at the Bills. What do the Bills do that the Steelers do not? If Josh Allen is not playing well, the Bills still have a solid defense, and they can their defense pretty much can, they have Micah Hyde. Their defense can kind of lean on their defense if Josh Allen's not playing well. Now, I don't know if they'll win, but Josh Allen is not the Bills are not as dependent on a win, or not dependent on Josh Allen for the win as they are with Big Ben. Hell, Big Ben even said it. If he does not play well, they don't win. And what we saw was the Steelers. The Steelers, they have a lot that they have to fix. Again, I know they're 11-2 right now, but they have a lot to fix. again, they're it's not just the wide receivers drop balls, but Eric Ebron, the tight end, they drop a lot of balls. And if people have been saying this all week, and I tend to believe them, looking at the results. While Big Ben is still, a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's trash or anything. I think the Steelers lean too much on Big Ben to win the game. If Big Ben does not play well, then the Steelers don't play. The Steelers lose. Like, that's even with their ferocious defense. Even though, like I said, their defense is outside of T.J. Watt and Cameron Hayward, they can't get any pass. They don't really have a pass rush. And like I said, Micah Hyde is good, but Micah Hyde can't be the only secondary healthy player. Like it's just, look, the Steelers will not win the Super Bowl or make it to the Super Bowl if their wide receivers continue to drop pass after pass after pass. B, if they have to lean so heavily on Big Ben to win them the game, they're not going to win. And they've been decimated with injury, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So if they don't find somebody to step up outside of the usual T.J. Watt, outside of Cameron Hayward, outside of Micah Hyde, outside of Joe Hayden when he comes back, then it's going to be, I don't see them going deep in the playoffs. And this isn't me, for lack of a better term, shitting on the Steelers. This is saying what we've been seeing. It's just we've been oblivious to it because, let me not say this. We have not been oblivious to it, but we've been able to forgive it, seeing as though they are 11-2 right now. But everything that I'm saying, hell, they struggled against a fourth-string quarterback in the Cowboys. They lost to the Washington football team. And don't get me wrong, I know the Washington football team did win against the 49ers, but we don't have an offense.